So this is a follow-up video to the video that came before it about these two watches, Seiko versus Rolex. So when I was done making that video, I don't know why, this happens if I have to transport watches around, I'll put one on each wrist. And then I actually just forgot I was wearing them until until bedtime. And I looked at them and I was like, well, I've tested them this long, let's do it. So I did it for the full weekend, and then today, actually no, today is Wednesday, I wore these for 7 days. I wore both of them. If I took one off, which I did sometimes, and it sat on the nightstand, the next night I would have the other one. I try to make it fair. So here we are. This is a 7559 pocket watch, courtesy originally owned by the lovely and talented Ryan Walters. So this is really cool. This is the golden tuna and stuff like that. This is that same movement, except no date dial, but it's this lovely pocket watch. But I set it to the internet time. And so where are we at? Okay, where are we at? So if I am thinking correctly, it looks like Marinemaster has lost 3 or 4 seconds. Now, you can't blame Rolex for this. I know this is running slow, and I know that I need to adjust it. It's running about 5 seconds a day. But anyway, come on, gosh darn it. I'm having real difficulties. In any case, it looks like the Rolex lost about 53 seconds. 7 times 5 is 35. So it's losing 5 seconds a day. There you go. So it was losing right about that. So you can see it's very, very steady. And when I make the time and I go in there and I adjust the microstellas, it'll just be zweep. So there we are. Wearability, in some ways, I learned to ignore both of them. Basically, after a while, I was just like, oh, they're just watches. I very much got used to the weight of this pretty quick. I had been wearing smaller watches for a good while. These I always thought of as big. And so it was the weight was a little startling, but I found as I was wearing it that it was actually quite comfortable, except for that. This ergonomics, this case are great. I mean, coming as they did, they were designed obviously for the 6215 and then the 6159 300 meter divers. It's a great design. So the watch actually sits nicely on the wrist, and when it's on the wrist, a lot of the the lower weight of it is so it's definitely a big watch. But as I said, with the case design, it really sort of fits into the wrist. And the glory of it too, I realized, because every time I would look down at my wrist and I would see this thing, I really would just be like, wow, that is just so beautiful. It really, every time it gripped me. Because the visual size of the watch from the top is not that big. And that's really, obviously, that's what you're looking at most of the time. I mean, it's not the thinnest watch in the world, obviously, but I found that really after a pretty short time, I ceased to notice that I was wearing it. And that actually happened all weekend. At a certain point, I found I was inside the MG doing stuff, and I was wearing both watches. And I was like, well, that wasn't smart. So I took them off, and I made sure to wear them not in dangerous situations, but they both hold up very well. Some people worry about these inserts chipping because they're so expensive and they're so hard to get. I mean, I was like literally I was removing brake. You see, I got a few marks up there around 50. I wasn't doing anything heavy, but I was removing brake lines, just loosening them up and stuff like that. But I moved drywall and what else did I do? I played with my power washer. I disassembled. We got a whole pallet of flooring in. and I got the flooring in, and then I took the pallet apart, and I discovered that it was, main structure was made of solid oak 2x4s. But anyway, what prompted me to take the watches off is looking at my wrist and saying, wow, look at that thing, and then going, holy crap, I'm wearing my goddamn watch. Sorry. But I was looking at it. One of the things I love about it, not just the way that they play with sizes, which is kind of different from my earlier opinion. I used to think they were kind of sort of overblown. But I don't know, I'm kind of seeing them differently now. What are you going to do? I loved the proportions of it. Seiko does this thing where they have this, the dial is slightly smaller than other companies, and the bezel and the insert's just a little bigger. You know, there's certain proportions that are consistent, not only of, shape, but of, space that they take. And I realized what this reminds me of in a lot of ways. One of my absolute #1 favorite Seikos. 7549 7000. This is the JDM. But to me, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a real, they aren't the same thing, but they were built out of the same, group of, the same style, the same people did it. So this thing, that's pretty amazing, by the way, that this thing lost a couple seconds. And that's really good, especially considering it's unserviced. It helps that the case is completely sealed. That one's behind. It's gotten a few seconds behind, so I probably should deal with that at some point. But they're just beautiful. This, like, I still, whenever I look at the proportions of this, I just love the way it looks. And I was thinking, this is actually kind of like a tuna without a shroud. Instead, it's on this, this body. It's a little bulky, with a tuna, you expect the, the visual bulk, and it looks really, really big. But it's not that big, but it's not far off the size of this thing. Isn't that wacky? Anyway, I enjoyed it a whole lot. It was really fun, and I'm gonna keep wearing it. And I like it on the bracelet. I'll try it on the strap. I like it on the bracelet. Okay, so now, Rolex. It is, I'm sorry I keep using this word, it's an elegant watch. It's like a, relic of another time, but no, not really. It's definitely, it feels more, this is gonna sound insane, it feels more casual than this one. This one is kind of like, grr, I'm a watch. This, I don't know, this watch is just like a nice, this is going to sound just ridiculous, but it's like a perfectly worn pair of well-made shoes. It's like it's just like a, a desk that, you've been sitting at for years, and it's all, nice and worn in, and it's still beautiful. It has so much character to it. It's not really fair in my mind to actually compare the two, because they're so different. I mean, obviously you can see the same aesthetic, but they're just so different. But this thing with its crazy Stardust Z dial. Yeah, it's the one problem with these is Rolex had a problem with their clear coating, their top surfaces. And what that meant is that moisture could get to the dial. And then it bubbles up, and, just like a car rusting out, you get all those bubbles. Maybe it's something like that. This is just sort of a Stardust. I made the description of what happens to this sound pretty grim, didn't I? It is what I probably could have spun it some other way, but anyway, but it did fine. It did fine. I don't see any new marks on it. I mean, this thing was in the MG2. I first started thinking about Rolex. This is an old story. I don't know how long it was since I last told it. My previous job, I was talking to this dude who came in all the time. He was a roofer. He owned a roofing company. Not like a million guys. He had like crew of like 10 guys, something like that. But he was up there with his guys. He would go up and roof, and he wore his Submariner every single day. He wore it every day up on the roof. I saw the watch. It didn't even look that bad. And then every, 5 years, he would send it off to Rolex, and they'd tune it up, and they'd get it back, and he'd slap it on his wrist, and off he'd go. So I was like, that's pretty amazing. That made me wonder about them a little. I'm glad I had this watch. I'm happy that it's like this really like stealth weirdness. Anybody looking at it who, was interested in these and could recognize them, it would just look like a, it would just look like a standard, standard sub. It wouldn't look like anything special, but all the sort of the secretness under it, the coolness. 168000. And what's really cool is these are a 16800 case, and they just re-stamped it with another like freehand 0. That's what it seems like, because it's slightly misaligned. They probably just ran it through the numbering machine again, but didn't align it. And it's just neat. It's just neat. It really is. Oh, a commenter told me something that's extremely valuable to me. Really sort of, makes me happy, because I've always thought if you see the asymmetry of the thickness of the lugs, you see that? This one's thick and that one's thin. That one's thick, this one's thin. So I had assumed that this watch had just gotten something really serious had happened that required the extra removal of material. So I always thought that maybe this case was kind of hammered. But a commenter said, oh, no. That is, they have asymmetric like this to offset the weight of the crown guards. And I was like, that's amazing. So all this time I'm like, my poor Rolex, somebody took like a file to it. It's not true. Case lines are, a little blurred. They're not as flat as they ought to be, I think. But that's the way it's supposed to be. It makes me much happier about it. It's beautiful during the day. It drives me nuts that I can't see it at night. It pulls a piece of the, true utility of a watch away from me. It's just one of those things. I really like it. I'm gonna get over it. I have to get over it, because it's just such a great watch, and it's wearing it is just, it's like, your best pair of slippers. It's like my granddad's leather chair. Actually, it's now Sabrina's leather chair. Beautiful club chair he bought in the 1930s. But it's something like that, right? It's, I don't know. It's got style to it. It's sort of old-fashioned, but not that old. I always think about Robert Redford, but his had a high top, I think. And of course it was a matte dial. But it's just, I think about these, and they have sort of a comfortable feel, and they look surprisingly casual on the wrist. They really do. I would look down and be like, it just looks like it's a watch I can imagine wearing with jeans, if that makes sense. Well, hell, I've been wearing it for a week, and I've been wearing cargo pants, so who cares? I'm sorry, actually, cargo shorts. Yeah, I'm wearing cargo shorts and a t-shirt that says ramen in kanji. So I don't think I'm too concerned about appearances right now. So I would say, this is stupid. They're both awesome. This one will be great. I have to go in and I'll adjust that and check the numbers and see where it's at. I'm not going to touch this thing. I'm not going to open it up. I'm not going to do a damn thing to it until it starts asking for help. That's what I'm going to do. That one's great. I actually, wearing it that long was kind of like a reintroduction, which was nice. And it's a nice piece. Though the rarity and weirdness of it, of being this strange subvariant of a subvariant because of a change in steel to 904L from 314. So the bracelet is the new steel, the case is the old steel, the movement is the old movement, I think is the thing, but it has this new dial. This is the first one with these framed applied markers. And I will maintain that this is the first 6-digit sub. 168000 is the official name of this. It's the official designation. This is the first 6-digit sub. I don't care what anybody says. It's the real thing. Anyway, well, thanks for watching this. I kind of don't know where I was going with it, but it was fun wearing these for a full week. It really was. I've got some other watches, though, they're calling my name. So I don't know, I'm starting to think about some different stuff. And I hate to tell it. Well, you're probably not going to be surprised, but that's really what I'm thinking about right now. I might wear that baby. Isn't that fun? It's all fun. All right. Yeah, because watches are fun. Okay, thank you for watching. Oh, there's one last point I forgot to make. One of the things that's different between this watch and this watch, because I was talking about proportions, are the proportions, specifically the lume, and how it's in the, you know, smaller frame markers, which in theory are going to be the same size as the, you know, the full mat, but, you know, obviously it looks like the frames just vanish. And so the lume looks much smaller, and it throws off the balance. If I were insane, I would just lume completely over all the plots, which I will never do. That will never happen. But if one did that, the lume would actually be close to the correct size, I think. It's a pretty watch. Definitely something of another time. Elegant in another way. Yeah, man. Oh, what else was I going to say? I can't, it's also a wash. They both have round top markers, so I can't fault either one for that. That's like that. Okay, now I'm going to shut up. Bye-bye.